Hi guys, so after the 10 items that everybody should hoard for tough situations, I was just thinking about the dry store because that's where the bulk of our storage should be. They have long shelf life, they're delicious, most of them are carbs, which we just love. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about 12 products that store for a very long time and you can combine and use to make multiple dishes. Let's just start with one of my favorite veggies of all time, lentils. They come in many colors, in many shapes and forms. You can find them full like this or split, cracked. They're super packed in proteins, minerals, vitamins. You can get a lot of your protein from lentils, and if you combine them with rice or potatoes or a strong starchy carb or even bread, you got full meal without even touching meat. For extreme situations, lentils are king. In original packaging, lentils, they last 3 to 5 years easy without any problems, especially if you keep them into a dry, dark place. But if you move them into a mylar bag like this, with oxygen absorbers, they have indefinite shelf life. As long as you don't let bugs get in and moisture get in so they sprout or get moldy, this amazing food can last for at least 10 to 20 years. Next on the list, flour. And I think if you've been watching the channel until now, you know that we love beans and bread a lot. And flour is one of those indispensable things that you need to make bread or bread-like products like pizza, cookies, you name it. Flour is always present in our dry store, in our pantry. Flour is essential products for all your baked goods. But also, instead of having cornstarch, for example, back home we never use cornstarch to thicken sauces, gravies and stuff like that. You can use flour for it easily. You can use flour to thicken a stew. Unfortunately, flour doesn't have 20-year shelf life because eventually it will go bad or spoil or go rancid. But you will get a minimum of 2 years out of your flour if stored in a dark, dry space. An alternative to flour, if you want a longer shelf life than 1 to 2 years that a normal package would offer you, is to buy wheat in bulk and get yourself a mill that you can run in your house and just make fresh flour from wheat whenever you need it. Because wheat with oxygen absorbers in mylar bags, they will last between 5 and 10 years. And to be fair, I always say you need to have 3 to 6 months of food storage. And if you have products that store for 1 to 2 years or more, then you're already in the green. So get yourself some flour. Next on the list, we have pasta, noodles, and ramen noodles. And they're a staple in our house. One, because they're delicious. Two, because they store for many years. Is basically dehydrated flour. The only thing that can go wrong with these three friends is the packaging inside of the ramen noodles, if you get those that come with that seasoning oil situation, because that oil in time, I'm talking 5 to 10 years, will go rancid. It's such an amazing product and it's so versatile that you can use it not just to cook with it and have that starchy feeling base, but also the water that you boil the pasta or the noodles in can be used as a thickener because it's full of starch. So it can be a base for your sauces. It can also be used, if not salted, it can be used in the garden, the starchy water, as an amendment for your soil. But it's very important not to be salted because you don't want to add brine, salted brine to your plants. It's going to kill them. Next on the list, white rice. And the reason why it looks like this is because 2 years ago I bought 50 kilos and I got my mylar bags and my oxygen absorbers, and now it's going to last forever. This is the beauty of white rice, and I'm specifying white rice because brown rice or wild rice will not last for more than 3 to 6 months due to the oils and the chemical compounds in its composition. Now, those oils and chemical compounds are very good for us if we eat the brown rice and the wild rice fresh. If we leave them for too long and we store them for too long, they're gonna go rancid. With the white rice, in this format with mylar bags and oxygen absorbers. Doesn't matter if it's cracked, long grain, jasmine, doesn't matter. As long as it's white rice, they will last indefinite. I'm not gonna say forever, but they found white rice in pharaohs tombs in Egypt and in other countries all over the world, and they were still good. I know of people who have stored rice like this for 50 years, and after 50 years they opened the bag, it was still good. Next on the list we have chickpeas, another favorite of ours because it's such a strong protein replacement. So you can combine this with rice and have a full meal. Very similar to the lentils, they're full of vitamins, minerals, essential oils, and it stores for a very long time. Even in the original package you got like 2 to 3 years of shelf life like that, and if you invest in some mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, you will get up to 10 years. We use it quite often in our diet, same like the lentils, because it's just delicious. One of our favorite thing is hummus, so we use it every week. Moving on, we got bouillon cubes, and I think I've spoken about this in the pantry video. I just love them. They may not be the healthiest things on the planet, but it's basically some oil, dehydrated veggies and salt. That's it, and the salt preserves everything. So first of all, they have indefinite shelf life. They can last forever if stored properly. They're delicious, they add flavor to your foods and meals, and if you're in a tight situation and the only thing you have is rice and chickpeas, if you add 1 cube of this, you're a king. You're gonna eat like kings. They're inexpensive. We usually stock at least 100 cubes in our house, and we never let that stock go down. There's infinite applications for this, you know, use your imagination, but this is one thing that shouldn't be missing from your dry store. The oils inside are not going to go rancid because of the amount of salt, which is huge compared to all its other ingredients. We'll combine these 3 ingredients together because they're all part of the same family. So we got dry herbs, salt, and spices, pepper. Yeah, they all last for a very long time. Even if they go out of date, the dried herbs, they're still good. They would not be as potent and as flavorful as, you know, fresh, but because they're dried, same like we're doing with our mints outside, they will keep their flavoring for a very long time. When it comes to spices and herbs, you choose whatever you prefer. We got a Mediterranean mix here because we add it to our dishes, but it can be just parsley, just dill, just again, whatever you prefer. Salt, we love rock salt because one, it's indefinite, it's gonna last forever, and we can add rock salt to food, we can add rock salt to pickling and to preserving foods, and it's just such a useful thing to have in the house. And when it comes to spices, we prefer seeds because one, they last for longer, and two, you can grind them straight away to get that explosion of flavor and still get freshness from a seed or a peppercorn like this, as opposed to getting ground pepper, which has already been cracked, and all those nice essential volatile oils from inside that give it the flavor and the aromas and the taste will just evaporate. So this is a very good way to store your spices. Next we have white sugar. And very similar to the white rice, brown rice situation, we're going to apply the same method for the sugar. It's very important if we want to store sugar for long term to use white sugar because it's refined, it's distilled, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to last for very, very long time. All of those other types of sugars, they will go rancid because of all the other compounds that they have in their composition. White sugar can be stored between 1 and 3 years in your pantry. Make sure that ants won't get to your supply of sugar, because as soon as they're going to discover it, they're going to literally take over your pantry or your house. You'll have a massive infestation of ants on your hands. The next thing on the list is dried milk, and the amazing thing about this is that it's going to last for between 1 and 5 years if stored properly. You can use it for all of the things that you would normally use milk for. You can use it in this powder form into sauces or dishes instead of cream or any other dairy products that you would like to use. And also, if you are vegan or have dairy allergy, you can store soybeans in the same way like with the chickpeas, and store high amounts of it, and you can make your own soy milk by using those soybeans. There's millions of recipes out there how you can do it. Just bear in mind that if you want to make soy milk, you will need quite a considerable amount of it. So when it comes to storage space, this kind of tops the space that you would need to store soybeans for. Oats, they store for a very long time, 1 to 5 years. They're very good for you, high in fiber. They're very filling. If you eat oats in the morning and you combine them with you know, dry milk, you can have a very nice breakfast. Actually, if you combine them with dry milk and with sugar, you have a very basic filling breakfast in an extreme situation. We love oats. They have so many uses, and if you're a homesteader, you can also use oats as feed for your animals in case you know, buy a humongous amount in bulk at a good price. Oats are amazing. And the last thing, something that we love a lot, dried mushrooms. Mushrooms in general, you can dry them at home if you are good at picking and if you're knowledgeable at picking mushrooms, so you make sure that you pick the safe ones, or if you live in a forested areas, because you know we don't. But dry mushrooms, we buy them in huge bags like this from our Asian shop close by. They're delicious. They have a very long shelf life because they're dehydrated. There's nothing growing on them. Same, you need to store them properly so they don't get in contact with moisture and develop molds, so mushroom on mushroom action. And they're delicious. The only thing you need to do is just rehydrate them with hot water so they, you know, bulk up, and then cook them and add them to your meals. We love them. And this method of storing and preserving mushrooms keeps a lot of the flavor and the taste in them, as opposed to powdering them or stuff like that. So this is one of our favorite ways. They add that delicious, distinct flavor to your dishes. And if we're talking from a prepper's perspective, from stocking up for a you know, crappy situation, this is going to be one of those luxury items that you're going to have in your pantry. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you found it useful and helpful. Let me know in the comments what you guys store in your dry store. What's your favorite dried ingredients and how long they last. This is not a depleted list by any chance, by any means. I'm really curious to find out from you, based on where you live on the planet, what you guys are storing in your dry store. And also, if you enjoyed the video and found it useful, like, subscribe, click that bell. Let's stay connected and find out more about each other. Enjoy. Here on this table, they add that distinct something to your meals, especially
Umami, it's called.
I don't want to say umami. Everybody says umami. Fuck umami.
Okay.
Actually, mine aphids, because aphids, when they suck the juice out of the plant, they create this liquid from the butts, if you can believe that. And the liquid is very sweet because they transform the sap of the plant into this sweet liquid. So ants take care of the aphids and protect them so they can harvest that sweet liquid from their butts.